Hello, Judy here from Thistledew Creations. Thanks for joining me. I took this book with me on our most recent trip to Ottawa, which is about a 3 or 4 hour drive. And I actually read it. I know a lot of us have looked through it and looked at the pictures, but not a lot of us have read it. At least I don't hear anybody talking about what it actually says in the book. And so I thought that I would do a little series of videos where I read the book to you. So it's The Country Diary of an Edwardian Lady by Edith Holden. And it was written in 1906, but it was published in the late 70s, early 80s. This one, 1977. Is this one. So I don't know if this is one of the original ones or what, but let's just dig in and start reading. So this can be a nice calming video that you can listen to while you're crafting or anytime. So Gowan Bank, Alton, Warwickshire, Edith B. Holden. I'm going to apologize ahead of time to any English people for my mispronunciation of some of the words. Nature notes for 1906. To sit on rocks, to muse o'er flood and fell, to slowly trace the forest's shady scene, where things that own not man's dominion dwell, and mortal foot hath ne'er or rarely been. To climb the trackless mountains all unseen, with the wild flock that never need a fold, alone o'er steeps and foaming falls to lean. This is not solitude, 'tis but to hold, converse with nature's charms, and view her stores unrolled. Byron. January. Named from the Roman god Janus, who is represented with two faces looking in opposite directions as retrospective to the past and prospective to the coming year. January 1st, New Year's Day. January 6th, 12th day, Epiphany. Then came old January, wrapped well in many weeds to keep the cold away. Yet did he quake and quiver like to quell, and blew his nails to warm them if he may, for they were numbed with holding all the day, and hatchet keen with which he felled wood, and from the trees did lop the needless spray. Fairy Queen, E. Spencer. Mottos. Janvier, freeze the pot upon the fire. If the grass do grow in Janvier, it grows the worst for it all the year. A wet January, a wet spring. The blackest month of all the year is the month of Janvier. January. This is coal tit and great tit. I love these little blue swallows or coal tits or whatever they are. And I've just noticed this double image of this January here. That's interesting. January. The leaves which in the autumn of the year fall auburn tinted, leaving reft and bare their parent trees in many a sheltered lair, where winter waits and watches cold, austere, will lie in drifts, and when the snow drops cheer, the woodland shadows still the leaves are there. Though through the glades the balmy southern air and birds and boughs proclaim that spring is here. Old Year Leaves by Mackenzie Bell. Therefore, all seasons shall be sweet to thee, whether the summer clothe the general earth with greenness, or the redbreast sit and sing betwixt the tufts of snow on the bare branch of mossy apple tree, while the night thatch smokes in the sun thaw, whether the eavesdrops fall, heard only in the trances of the blast, or if the secret ministry of frost shall hang them up in silent icicles, quietly shining to the quiet moon. Froster Midnight, S.T. Coleridge. Dead leaves of elm, oak, beech, chestnut, and sycamore. Waterhen or moorhen. January 1st, New Year's Day, bright and cold with hard frost. 5th, great gale of wind and rain from the southwest. 11th, visited a small wood on the canal bank to get violet leaves. On moving away some of the dead leaves lying beneath the trees, I discovered a wild arum plant thrusting its white sheath up from the soil. When I removed the outer covering, the pale yellow leaves with dark spots were quite discernible, rolled tightly round each other and beautifully packed away inside the white skin. I noticed that many of the leaf buds on the elderberry bushes had burst into green. 12th. Saw several moorhens feeding on a newly plowed field not far from a pond. 14th. Great gale of wind and rain. 18th. Today I saw a curious oak tree growing in a field near Elmdon Park. From a distance, it looked as if half of the tree were dead and the other half covered with glossy green leaves. On examination, the main trunk and two of the main branches proved to be of a species of oak that has mossy acorn cups and large, deep serrated leaves. Leafless in winter, growing out of the crown of the trunk and forming fully half of the tree was an evergreen or cork oak in full foliage. The join in the two trunks was scarcely perceptible. January 23rd. Sharp frost and thick fog in the early morning. The fog cleared off about 9:30 a.m. and the sun shone brightly. Went for a country walk. Every twig on every tree and bush was outlined in silver tracery against the sky. Some of the dead grasses and seed vessels growing by the roadside were especially beautiful, every detail of them sparkling with frost crystals in the sunshine. I saw great flocks of rooks and starlings down in the fields and a pair of beautiful bullfinches in a hawthorn bush. The gorse was in blossom, till within a week or two ago, but the sharp frosts of the past week have nipped off the bloom. The mild winter has brought out the hazel catkins wonderfully early. The small green flowers are fully expanded on some of the catkins, and the pretty little red stars of the female flowers are appearing. The green leaves are out on the woodbine too, making little spots of green among the undergrowth. January 26th. The last few weeks, our own and our neighbors' gardens have been haunted by a very curious robin. The whole of the upper plumage, which in ordinary robins is brown, shaded with olive green, is light silvery gray in this bird, so that when flying about it looks like a white bird with a scarlet breast. I hear that it was seen about here last summer. It is so conspicuous, it is a wonder it has not fallen victim to somebody's gun. So here we have ivy, hazelnut catkins, and female flowers, woodbine. The little red flower she's talking about. January 27th. Primroses, polyanthus, and winter aconite, mazarione, and snowdrops are all in flower in the garden. Every mild morning now the birds are singing, and they continue more or less throughout the day. January 29th. Today I picked some daisies in a field and saw some yew in blossom. The young nettles are shooting up, and a number of herbaceous plants are shewing new green leaves, as foxglove, treacle, mustard, ground ivy, etc. The groundsel is in flower too. Plowing and hedging and ditching are going on everywhere. This has been a wonderfully mild January. Wee, modest, crimson-tipped flower, thou's met me in an evil hour. For I maun crush among the store thy slender stem. To spare thee now is past my power, thou bonny gem. Alas, it's no thy neighbour sweet, the bonny lark companion meet, blending thee 'mong the dewy wheat, with speckled breast, when upwards springing, blithe to greet the purple east. Could blow the bitter biting north upon thy early humble birth, yet cheerfully thou glinted forth amid the storm, scarce reared above the parent earth, thy tender form. The flaunting flowers over gardens yield, high sheltering woods was mound shield, but thou beneath the random bield, O clad or stone, adorns the histy stibble field, unseen alone. There in thy scanty mantle clad, thy snowy bosom sunward spread, thou lift'st thy unassuming head in humble guise, but now the share uptears thy bed, and low thou lies. To A Mountain Daisy by Burns. Above all florists in the mead, though I love most these florists white and reed, so that men call daisies in our town, Chaussee. Daisies smellless but most quaint, Fletcher. Daisies, ye flowers of lowly birth, embroiderers of the carpet earth, that gem the velvet sod, Clare. Wee modest crimson tippet flower, Burns. The winter in the garland wears, that thinly decks his few grey hairs. Spring parts the clouds with softest airs, that she may sun thee. Whole summer fields are thine by right, and autumn melancholy white doth in thy crimson head delight, when rains are on thee. In shoals and bands amorous train, thou greetest the traveller in the lane, pleased at his greeting thee again, yet nothing daunted, nor grieved if thou be set at naught, and oft alone in nooks remote, we meet thee like a pleasant thought, when such are wanted. Child of the year, that round dost run thy pleasant course when day's begun, as ready to salute the sun as lark or leveret, thy long lost praise thou shalt regain, nor be less dear to future men than in old time. Thou art not vain, art nature's favourite. To a Daisy by Wordsworth. Daisies, those pearled araturi of the earth, the constellated flowers that never set. Shelley. Spray of yew with male flowers, fruit, and female flowers in different stages. The yew, Taxus baccata, is generally dioecious, the male and female flowers being borne on different trees. Its poisonous properties reside in the foliage, the fleshy part of the berries being quite harmless, though the seed is injurious. Yew trees live to a great age, some in this country being recorded as 1,000 years of age. It is supposed to have been planted by the Druids in their sacred groves. In later days it was planted in the churchyard as a symbol of mourning, and some say to provide bows for the archers. There is a yew tree, pride of Zorton Vale, which to this day stands single in the midst of its own darkness, as it stood of yore, not loth to furnish weapons for the bands of Umfraville or Percy are they marched to Scotland's heaths, or those who crossed the sea and drew their sounding bows at Azincourt, perhaps at early Crecy or Poitiers. Of vast circumference and gloom profound, this solitary tree, a living thing produced too slowly ever to decay, of form and aspect too magnificent to be destroyed, but worthier still of note, are those fraternal four of Borrowdale, joined in one solemn and capacious grove, tree trunks and other particular trunk, a growth of intertwined fibers serpentine, upcoiling and inveterately convolved, nor uninformed with fantasy and looks that threaten the profane, a pillared shade upon whose grassless floor of red-brown hue, by shedding from the pining umbrage tinged perennially beneath those sable roof of boughs as if for festal purpose, decked with unrejoicing berries, ghostly shapes, may meet at noontide, fear and trembling, hope, silence and foresight, death the skeleton and time the shadow, there to celebrate as in a natural temple, scattered o'er with altars undisturbed of mossy stone, united worship or in mute repose, to lie and listen to the mountain flood murmuring from Glaramard's inmost caves. That's Yew Trees by William Wordsworth. And we'll do February in the next video. Please join me.